Morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Afro Scientific Spirituality. My name is Efe West. If you are watching this for your first time, you are highly welcome. This is the place where we separate the facts from the fiction, the science from the superstitions, and of course, the concept from the misconceptions about African spirituality. Today, I have with me a very special guest from Philippines. His name is Ricky Maramba, and he's an IT consultant and expert. So we'll be talking about the interrelationship between spirituality and information technology and the future of information technology, especially IT, the implications for humans and for spirituality. So I will be talking about this, and I want to ask about Mr. Ricky to tell us the implications on the IT level. So, Mr. Ricky Maramba, please can you introduce yourself to the guest, and you're highly welcome.
Yeah. As of now, I act like an accountant to our family business, but around several decades ago, I used to be a freelance computer programmer. So there, I'm quite familiar with IT, but I graduated engineering before that. I had to self-study the IT after.
Okay, that's great. So I'm very happy to have you here today. The main thing is that the knowledge of information technology is something that is part of us as humans, especially we modern humans. We are already soaked in. There's nothing we cannot do today without technology, especially when it comes to the digital technology, the internet. Right now, we are doing this live chat on the internet, and we are in different locations, but we are actually communicating, and we are going to reach out to thousands, if not millions, of people with the power and the abilities of this technology. So today, I will be asking you some questions about the information technology. So you have been practicing all these years before you retired, and I want you to talk about your experience with it and how you see it in respect to spirituality. First thing I want to ask you, as an IT expert, you believe in God.
Uh, Sorry, I didn't get your last few
Do
words.
you believe that there is the existence of the entity called God? Are you an atheist, or what is your spiritual worldview?
Okay. My spiritual worldview is I'm spiritual but not religious. I do not worship any entities, although I believe that they may exist. I just get the energy from what I call the source or what other people consider God. I bring it down and then I utilize it and then I redistribute it. Unlike in some cases, you have to worship an entity, your God, and then it is the God who gives you your energy and who gives you your idea of ethics. In my case, there's none. I just get my ethics from, let's say, karma, which may or may not, which will exist whether or not any other entities exist. So there, it's that simple. Uh, yeah, that's about it.
So you believe that there's a deity, but you don't believe that there's just like a code, the source code is something that created the universe that is responsible for the overseeing the running of the universe. But say God per se, and the way other people venerate different spirits, as in Buddha, Krishna, or Jesus, or you don't believe those things. Okay, that is nice. So, how do you relate this source of everything that you believe that there's a source, there's a supreme intelligence? How do you relate these workings of this supreme intelligence to the area of information technology, as in networking? There is this.
Ah,
Yes. How do you relate it?
okay. So it's like you have the source. It is like a supercomputer. It is over you. You are in a network. All of us are in a network. All of its creations are in its network. And there are several, it cascades down. So you have the source, and then it creates a creator, and then the creator creates another creator, and then it goes down all the way until you. And you on your own, since you are intelligent, you can use your own CPU to experience life. However, if you are connected to the computers a bit higher than you, it's like you have the passwords, and whatever they know, you will know, and whatever they do, you can do. And the number of passwords you get will be dependent on your karma. If your karma is good, you can access all the way to the top. Okay, you can access information all the way to the top, and you can also create, do things which can be done all the way also to the top. So in a way, this idea of God and you, it seems it gets a little blurry. And that's why I think some people say that I am God. Okay, it's not anything that's selfish, but it's just the idea that the moment your karma is clean, you are God, because you can access all the way to the top. There is nothing that the highest will know which you will not know at the same time, but that will only occur if you get the passwords right. So that's roughly my view. And it can also get a little more complicated than that, because the layer from here all the way to the source is not really one step. Other people believe that it is only one step. That is really only a very simplified explanation. For me, it is several steps. It's like in computers, it's like, what do they call that? I forgot that there's a term for it, no? But it's like you go one step up, and then that is your immediate creator. But your immediate creator may have a creator, which may have a creator, which may have a creator. So what happens is some people get stuck in their immediate creator, because sometimes the immediate creator restricts them from bypassing and going all the way up. So what will happen is that they are going to get stuck there, and they can be something like enslaved. So what I always do upon meditation is I always attempt to contact the higher one, the highest one, okay? And sometimes, of course, I will piss the ones at the middle, because some of them don't want to be bypassed, because that's their idea of happiness, which is to be able to control the people at the bottom, the entities at the bottom, and in order for the ones at the bottom to never surpass them, which is, for some people, especially the ones in the left-hand path, that is the idea, for you to go all the way up, okay? But for some people in the right-hand path, the idea is to keep you constrained there at the bottom. So roughly there, that's it.
Exactly. Thank you very much for this analysis that you just explained. It is very, very valuable. I have actually experienced this a lot in the path of spirituality. I have been able to understand that the major currency in the spirit world is attention and time. In this physical world, it's also supposed to be attention and time, but we men have created something we call money. We have attached monetary value to everything in life. So our attention in this human form right now is money. Money is power in this physical plane. But in the spirit world, it is attention and time. And every spirit out there, every Tom, Dick, and Harry spirit, high and mighty, they want your attention. So these are immediate creators you are talking about. They are like sub-gods or sub-categories of God that are not up to that source code, that supreme deity. So when you come across them, many of them appear to tell you they are the greatest. You don't need to go any further. You just need to just stay here with me, worship me, follow me, venerate me. You don't need to know any other person. Give me your time and energy. Give me your attention, because that attention you focus on them gives them power, makes them. So you see these different problems. We have so many religions in the world today. Every religion wants followers. They want people to gather to venerate them. And religion is a very huge part of humanity right now. So we see so many little gods that don't have capacity. and they still want to be recognized. So there's this spiritual war happening in the world right now. Religions fighting each other, each person claiming mine is the right way, yours is the wrong. We see this a lot in Christianity, even Islam. We see this, even every part of the world. We see this. Everybody want to claim to be theirs is the right way, the only way to ascension, the only way to heaven, the only way for you to be able to rise spiritually. So this is a major problem. I'm glad that you have been able to see this in the ITV. There's this thing they call the database harmonization in the field of IT, right? Can you explain that concept more? The concept of harmonization?
I'm not familiar with database harmonization. Actually, my IT experience was done through self-study. I graduated engineering, so I've heard of database normalization, but harmonization, no, not familiar.
Normalization.
Oh,
how do you view this database normalization with respect to spirituality? Any difference or similarity?
Because with normalization database, I think that's the term. No, it's been decades ago. No, it's like you have several files, and it's like this. Supposing if you see data in your screen, what happens is the data doesn't only come from one file. It comes from several files which are connected to each other. Also with us, what happens is that each person is not exactly only one entity, just like a corporation is not only one entity. A corporation is run by at least 5 directors. On the outside, the corporation will have only one statement, but inside, before the statement is made, you have several directors fighting with each other to exactly state what's going to come out. Now with spirituality, it is also the same thing. It's like before you make a decision, there are several parts of yourself which are going to battle to come out with one statement. Sometimes the statements are very conscious. Okay, like for example, you want to resign, but another part of yourself says, no, you cannot resign your job because you need the money. Now, sometimes there is an subconscious component which occurs, like for example, subconsciously, the other thing is, consciously you say, I can get a job, but subconsciously you know very well that you are not qualified to get, another job since times are hard. So subconsciously, something is telling you that, but consciously you do not get it because it's going to break your pride. So it's really, really very messy inside. Now with database normalization, it is like that also. You have several different things there, which are connected to each other, where outside it just seems like one. Like for example, if you have transactions, credit card transactions, in the main office, you have one file having all of the customer names and then another file having all of the transactions. And you have to link them up in order to know which transactions are for which customers. At the end, the person on the screen can see the data of customers with transactions, but normally it is not done that way. Those are two separate files, databases, or tables, whatever you may call it. So it's similar. And they say that God is really nothing but a summation of all the entities it has created, or all of the other entities which has attempted to bind with it. There.
Thank you very much. I see a similar semblance with what you say. I always tell people, when people ask me that you are a spiritualist, or have you seen God? What is your concept of God? Okay, this supreme intelligence we always talk about, but nobody has seen. How do we assess this supreme intelligence? My answer to that question is that nobody have ever seen this supreme intelligence, and it's very, very far from us. The closest thing we can find to God on this planet is our sun in this our solar system, because the sun is the closest star to us, and the energy from this sun is what powers this earth and powers this solar system. Without the sun, everything will perish. Without the sun, we all die. So the closest, most powerful God to us right now It's the sun we see every day. We see him every day. This is our God. We see him every day. Many people say you have not seen God, but we see the sun every day, and the sun is the greatest power that is sustaining us. So I keep telling people that if you are looking for God in physical human form, we have to become him. The closest or the more you know about nature is the more you know about God, because this essence of God is in everything. We can see it in nature, the water, the earth, the winds, the animals. In every human, it's a reflection of this divine force, everything that have life. So the more we study nature, the more we understand God, the more we get these passwords that you talk about in IT, and the more we can be able to assess higher levels of intelligence or deeper understanding of nature. So we can be able to do those things that God is capable of doing. So for me, this is the essence of the study of spirituality, especially African spirituality. So my own philosophy of finding God, searching for God. Searching for God is in studying nature, understanding nature, knowing who we are, knowing our purpose. This is the only way we can find God. And when we begin to go to this path, we discover that we might be exactly what we are looking for. So for me, God consciousness cannot just be found in just one place. It cannot be found in a guy that is sitting down, looking upon all the universe. It's in everything. So if we are looking for just one guy, just one energy source, we cannot really find it. But if we look at everything at the same time, we find it. This is exactly what physicists they are doing now in quantum physics and plasma physics. They are looking beyond the atom to this the God particle, the things we call neutrinos, that they claim is the building block of the universe. So I believe we can find God by looking at everything at the same time. Okay. So what I want to really talk to you about today is this new thing that is actually taking the world by storm, and artificial intelligence, the rise of AI, ChatGPT. I want you to tell me your thought on ChatGPT, the creation of this artificial intelligence, and if it is something that's can actually just tell me what you think about artificial intelligence. I just want to know your opinion.
Okay. Actually, I have not yet tried out ChatGPT, but I have heard about it, and it's like this. It's a two-way sword because ChatGPT is going to be very beneficial for humanity. That is assuming that the people who are utilizing it, the people in power, are going to use it properly. Now, if they do not use it properly, they can, of course, get rid of a lot of the employees, not only blue-collar workers, but white-collar workers. I heard that it's really, really very good, and it really can strike up a conversation with you. And I've heard of some people who have actually even told it to write sentences for them. So it's not like Google where, you know, you put keywords and then things come out. Here, no. You ask it in clear sentences, and it will answer in clear sentences. And if you even say na, even if you say something like, please write me a sentence with this content, and give it a witty response or a romantic response, it will do so. So it bothers me because if a person in power is going to utilize that, they can really get rid of the lawyers, the doctors. I heard the AI right now can even make art. Imagine.
Exactly.
Art, and that will really bother me because sooner or later what's going to happen is that we won't have any actors and actresses because they'll figure out what, no, I'm not kidding, because they can figure out what beauty is. They're going to create it, they're going to copyright it. No more, even the models, forget it, no more models. And with the resolution coming out, you are not going to be able to see which is real and which is false. Okay, they can just duplicate someone and make him make certain moves. Probably they'll just give him, okay, I'll give you $10,000 and I'll just get your semblance, front view, side view, top view, and then afterwards they'll just make him move, okay? Or they can create one from scratch, and sooner or later, they're gonna replace actors with it. So it's good in the sense that you know, a lot of people are going to be working less. But you know, in a capitalistic society, which everybody likes, is why are you gonna make people work less? Of course not. What you do is you make them work less, you employ them with slave wages, and you just breed them in order for them to consume, so you have someone to sell to. So assuming that happens, and I think that's going to happen, it is very bothersome.
The thing is that the ChatGPT, with the way it has been advanced now, you can actually give it assignments and projects to do. And they will complete that assignment in the shortest possible time, and they are going to deliver a very high quality delivery for you, better than a human, without actually making mistakes. So what I've seen with this artificial intelligence now, in the spiritual terminology, I see it as an entity that have been created by man to do work to make life more efficient. And in actually bringing this entity into this physical sphere of reality and giving accessibility to it, because the way it is now, anybody can use the ChatGPT. I heard it has been banned in Italy already. It has been banned. People can now, it's an open source. So we can actually use it to replace humans. And they are more effective and much more cheaper to use than to employ and pay people. So quite naturally, a lot of humans today will lose their jobs. It's going to, it has been estimated by, I think, maybe JP Morgan on another American firm that it can take away more than 300 million jobs within the first 3 to 5 years. So for me, I see IT, information, the artificial intelligence as an actual entity, the summoning or creation of servitors, spiritual servitors that people can use for solving physical problems. So this is another kind of deities that men have been able to create right now. So this is something that actually affirms our godhood as humans, and also to is like creating a subspecies to replace humans on this planet. Okay, so I see artificial intelligence as spirits that people have been able to create, and now anybody can use them. In the traditional way of invoking or creating servitors in spirituality, you can actually do spells to summon certain deities, and you send them on errands to do things for you. I think something like that is now being created to become widespread for everybody to access in this phenomenon called artificial intelligence today. In spirituality, I can create a deity, or I can summon an existing deity, invoke them, then give them an assignment. Help me to do this, help me to complete this project, help me to get this item. It can be love, prosperity, or it can just be to attack somebody as in protection. People do this in the world of magic, okay? We call it voodoo. You know about voodoo dolls and stuff like that. So artificial intelligence now cannot be used to do almost the same thing. It is getting stronger every day, okay? People cannot be able to deploy viruses in the case of DDoS attack and cyber attacks to create destruction, hardship, and pain. People can also use the same tools to steal people's money, identity, and they can use it. You can do almost anything on the digital space. In fact, I see that space and as a kind of world on its own. The cyberspace is another kind of world that is existing side by side with our own reality. In the cyberspace, everything is possible. For me, it's like a spirit world on its own. This is also bringing me to the topic of visual reality. Okay, visual reality is the artificial reality that we go to on the on the cyberspace or the internet when we try to interact or want to make contact with people. So for me, going to the virtual reality cyberspace or plugging into the internet now, that's almost half of the world is doing. For me, it's like a form of astral projection, moving away from your physical reality, going into somewhere that is sublime, and actually engaging with people in that space, doing things in that space, interacting, making real interactions that can affect the life of other people positively or negatively. So I see virtual reality, I see the internet as another kind of world where people astral project to do things. Okay, you can call it a dream world, but this is much more practical. Only that you are not dreaming, you are actually there consciously, actually interacting with people. We meet people nowadays, first of all, on the internet before we meet them on real life. So if that is not a form of astral world or a sort of spirit world, tell me what it is. What is your thought of virtual reality and the time people spend browsing every day? The average person spends about 4 or 5 hours of their daily time on the internet, on Facebook, social media, TikTok, and they are growing larger and larger every day. Is this productive for humanity? Tell me, how do you see this trend?
Okay. Usually, from what I've read, all of these social medias are supposed to get you hooked into them, which of course isn't exactly good. And they hook you by raising, if I'm not mistaken, your dopamine level. Okay, so it's like it's giving you a drug. It makes you a little high. It gets you excited. And since you will always look for that excitement, you are going to get hooked. Now, normally, the way I raise my dopamine or I raise, my happiness is by connecting to the source, and then it's like you get a hit. Okay. But with other people who get hooked to this social media, sooner or later, they will not be able to. It gets to be too easy to do that without meditating, that they will stop connecting to the source already. So they're going to go further and further away. And of course, when you get further and further away, you're going to later figure out that the only way to be happy is to get hooked to your social media. It's just similar to, like, let's say, falling in love, no? If you are connected to the source, you can experience that unconditional love. You can experience that relationship with all the other creations of your creator. But if you get very, very connected to, let's say, your significant other, what happens is that your experience of love only gets to be so personal that it only becomes between you and her, and you forget everybody else. But in this case, it's not even anybody else, but it's going to be your cell phone or your monitor. So in a way, it's good, but of course, you shouldn't get addicted to it. It's also like food. I heard that we have so much food which is actually bad for us, and the one which is known right now is sugar. But the only reason that I think the FDA cannot ban it is what I read before, is that they only ban things which have an immediate reaction, which is bad. Now with sugar, it takes several months or years before you get diabetes or you get, all these bad effects. And since they believe that, a human should be able to decide on his own whether or not he's going to get hooked or not, it is okay. But of course, officially, I don't know if there's anything that says that sugar is bad for you unless it's already too late and you're diabetic. So it's the same thing with social media.
Actually, but the thing that people are not saying, the big elephant in the room is that it is already too late. I
Yeah.
believe we are already attached to this digital technology now, to this social media. We can't live without it anymore. It is part of us now. I know people that we go mad if they lost their phone. Me, quite now, even as I am now, I can't imagine not looking at my phone for a whole day, because right now, a large portion of my life is in the digital space. So because of me not checking up or following up, checking my family, making contact with my friends, I can't just bear the thought. And I know a lot of people that their case is even more serious than mine, that when their phone goes missing, they go insane instantly. I've seen people lose their cool when they can't find their phone. They go mad. It's like you are cut off from life. You are cut off from so-called source. It's like you are nobody without being connected to the internet now. This is what tech companies will not say. It's already too late for us to go back. So what I think, the tech is going to go deeper and deeper, whereby this phone we have now is going to be reduced to a tiny microchip, and it's going to be inserted inside our flesh so that we can never be separate from it. So this is where we are going now with this. It's already too late for humanity, whether we like it or not. The cyberspace right now is very, very real. And for me, it's as real as the astral world. For me, it's the same thing. You meditate, right? There have been cases whereby you meditate sometimes. You go into deep meditation. You see yourself in different type of planes, whereby everything is so serene. It's like a blissful place. This thing they call Nirvana. If you have experienced it, it's like a drug. You astral project to a very deep state. You get to meet people, entities, or go to places where you don't just want to live. In fact, the only thing that brings you back to this physical reality is the fear of death. Not dying, you come back. So people now have been attached to the cyberspace. In cyberspace, people have more confidence. People that maybe they feel it's a certain type of way about their looks, their personality. People that maybe they might be suffering from or some sort of physical elements. In cyberspace, they can appear very beautiful, very charming, and people have been addicted to this drug called surfing, called the cyber world now, that we just cannot live without it anymore. To say you want to separate humanity from it now is impossible. We do everything now. In fact, we are trying to move into this space to occupy this space more and more. If you want to survive now as a business, you need to move into the cyberspace. As a human being, anything you want to do now, you need to go there to get a cyber presence there. So we are now moving from the so-called real into the unreal. We are creating this new place where we can coexist peacefully. So I'll be seeing a lot of human beings that will be trying to move all their assets. Recently, Facebook, which is now Meta, is now creating a kind of virtual world on its own where people can move cash, can move real, they call it virtual real estate, can buy houses, buy space, and move like you living there, having a powerful presence there. So I see the same thing in spirituality. When we do meditation, we astral project, we go to different temples in the spirit realm to learn, to get things. Man is now creating his own type of astral plane on the cyberspace now, whereby we can also go there now to do all these things and spend real money now. Instead of giving time to deities as we do traditionally, we are actually giving this time to our fellow humans that have the capacity to create this space now. People like Mark Zuckerberg will be paying money, of course, to use all this service. We'll be making them richer, both in the cyberspace and in the real world. So this is going to be a real problem for people that are not ready for what is coming for us. And AI, of course, it's now set to replace a lot of humans. So I see this virtual reality as an astral plane, and many people are talking about astral projecting. When you go to the internet, you're spending time surfing from site to site, consuming content. It's a form of astral projection. You are learning, you are interacting, you are transmitting knowledge. You are, whether you like it or not, you are downloading data from this place, reading your consciousness. It now depends on what are you spending this time. Are you actually growing, or are you filling yourself with garbage? Or are you actually accessing positive information that will move your life forward? What are you doing with your time on the internet? When you browse, a lot of people, you're going to see them on porn sites from morning to night. You see a lot of people on gambling sites from morning to night. You see a lot of things happen. There is this thing we call the deep web. Deep web, anything can go. A lot of people still go there too. So the internet now is a new cyberspace where humans can actually extra project anytime they want to get anything they want. Okay, this is the way I see this now. What do you think about it?
Yeah, actually, there's a good side and a bad side, like everything, no? A lot of people use it for information, like me. I use it for information. I use it to connect. But the thing which bothers me are, all those influencers who use it for validation. And I also read and I also agree that it is breeding a new sort of narcissistic people who only get happiness from being viewed on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And if you were even just a bit psychic and you look at them, it's like they threw their intelligence away. Okay, sometimes when I talk to my friend, I actually use the word brain dead. Okay, it's because it's like, yeah, because of course that's an extreme case now, but it's like these people can only get happiness when they are appreciated, when they are, when they are admired. And the moment you take their admiration away, they're going to be miserable. See, so for me, like what I wrote in my other book, instead of getting happiness by connecting to the source, you're getting happiness by connecting to the web and getting all their admiration, which, isn't exactly right. Because when you get hooked, you get hooked. And that's it. That's the end of you. A lot of people I've seen, uh, their account disappears and they cry on the web and they say, I don't have a job anymore. I don't know how to work anymore. And I am finished. It's that bad, see? So there, what's happening is you're losing your connection to the other reality from where you came from. You're getting connected here, and you get a little happiness from it. You get a dopamine hit, but for me, it's temporary happiness. The moment you lose it, that's it for you. You are depressed, you're miserable, and you find some other way to get it back. Like it's like a man or a woman, he breaks off with his boyfriend or girlfriend, and instead of finding true happiness, they go on the rebound and then they get another boyfriend or girlfriend. That's it. No, so it's like out of the fire into out of the frying pan into the fire. There. So that's the way I look at it. That's what bothers me most.
But this is the reality, and I don't think that many people now, especially governments or social societies, know about the gravity of this happening. I've seen many youths now, fairly from early age, already getting hooked on the internet, and the kind of information they are accessing, as we say, they are looking for appreciation. It's all about likes for them. It's all about being this la vida loca, this fake life on the internet, trying to pretend that everything is okay. They're always posting pictures of them having a good time. They never post pictures of real life situations where they are suffering or struggling. You only post pictures when you chilling out with your friends, when you cool. This is the only sign you show people. You never show people the time you're hustling, the time you're sweating, the time you're struggling. People don't want to show that side anymore. So when you show that, people look you as a poor person, they don't want to associate with you. Only real people that understand and appreciate life will want to be your friend. So the thing is that authenticity, again, many people have lost their self in this peer pressure of looking for validation and wanting to be cool or wanting to live as superstars. In my country where I come from, we call this slay queens, slay kings. A lot of girls we do makeup and everything, always trying to look sharp and beautiful all the time on the internet. You would think that they never cook, they never go to the toilet, they never go to the markets. They always want to be perfect, and they attract certain kind of people that have this fake mentality with them. So they're the kind of men they attract. It's also people that like this fake reality. And when these people come their life, of course, everything is fake. We see a lot of marriages ending very, very quickly, even before they start, because it's all about validation. People don't want to struggle with a partner anymore. People don't want to date somebody and wait for a better future nowadays. People want everything now. They want it cool. They want it flashy. They want it now. It's like a fast food type thing. It's going to be sweet, but it's not going to have any nutrients. But the look, it look good on the picture. It look good on the magazine cover. This is the kind of life people live in, that fake reality that it is creating. And it is killing a lot of people, because when you're not living true to who you are, you're pretending to be what you are not. It will only take time. It will cause so-called depression, because you are putting a lot of pressure on yourself to please people. You are not living true to yourself. You are not pleasing yourself. So a lot of youths now, they are under this pressure to deliver. They are under this pressure to create a fake image of themselves, that everything is okay with them. Way deep down, we know that life is not a perfect place. Life is not a bed of roses. Life is a place of struggle and survival, and trying to make peace with who you are. So we see this fake reality a lot, and it's affecting a lot of people. Many of them will pretend that this is not an issue, but it's a big issue. I see it every day. So we need to find a way in the future to help these people that are going this way. For me, getting hooked on the cyberspace, as you said, it's the same thing as getting hooked on a drug addiction. Getting hooked on fast food. Addiction is addiction. It will affect the person negatively in the end. So we see this addiction to the cyberspace, and it's actually killing their spirituality. Very sad, but we have to talk about the issue and find a way to help these people. Then I also want to talk about cloud computing. Cloud computing now, whereby we have these large servers and we just keep uploading. Like Facebook now, people uploading data every day to Facebook, and Facebook is saving all this information. It's like we're giving ourselves away for free. So giving our data, giving everything in order to get this validation. And people now have a way of saving all these things. It's like our life is being curated now by big data. I would like to know your implications. What are the implications for this kind of things we are doing? Do we really have privacy anymore?
Yeah.
And how will we be able to maintain our privacy right now in present reality?
Okay. Now this topic is a bit bloody, no? In a perfect world, it would be very nice because, you know, with Google's algorithm, Facebook's algorithm and all, what's nice is that when you go back to YouTube, it knows your likes, dislikes, and it will actually give you content which you would really search for. But the problem is when it's in the hands of people who aren't so nice, okay, and of course there are always people that aren't nice. Of course, it can be used for political purposes and all that. So actually the worry here is control, okay? If your government or if the person on top handling it is a benevolent dictator, because of course with all that data, you can really be a dictator, everything is fine, okay? Now the thing is, in a capitalistic environment, what I heard is it's like the land of the free and the dumb. Freedom is like free and the dumb. You may be free, but if you're dumb, you are dead, okay? You are gonna be eaten alive. And of course, the people upstairs, they're just gonna say, well, he was given the chance. He doesn't know how to compete. So what happens with people who don't know how to compete? They're dumb and goodbye, we get all their money. So, you know, it's done very, very slowly. Like, for example, in the banks, I was so worried, no? Okay. Like, for example, here in the Philippines, before, I would get an ATM card and that's it. Now, it is connected to either Visa or MasterCard. I said, can I get an ATM card with no Visa and MasterCard? I like my previous one. They said, sir, yes. After a few months, they say, sir, you'd better change that because it is going to expire. And I say, can't I get a card with no Visa or MasterCard? Because it's scary. You know, the moment it gets lost, someone might swipe it. They say, sir, you have a PIN. But this is my worry. They said, sir, no, I don't know if the guy was telling the truth, but he says the Bangko Sentral of the Philippines, the central bank, was the one that stated that all ATM cards must either have Visa or MasterCard, which is scary because if the government doesn't like you, all it has to do is go to either Visa or MasterCard and take off all your money. See, so if you had a benevolent dictator, things like that will not happen. But if you don't have a benevolent dictator, okay, we are going to be worse off than China. Okay, because they can easily do that. The other thing also in the bank is I'm IT literate, so I'm also very paranoid about, getting hacked, my bank accounts. So I went to several banks. I said, is it possible to open an account which is not connected to the internet? Would you believe all the banks I went to? They said, sir, no. All of your banks, our bank, at least their bank, was connected to the internet. They said, then you don't have to open an account. I said, I don't have to open an account, but someone might open it for me. Easy, right? You'll never know. You'll never know. Inside job, they get your data, they open it, and they finish you off like what they did with me. That happened already with one bank. I was, however, able to go to one bank. Okay, I'm going to thank them. It's BPI, and then they said, sir, if you get a bank account with an ATM, it is connected. But if your bank account is only with a passbook, with no ATM, your balance can be seen online, but you can never transfer your money, even if you wanted. So, my big balances are there because I'm rest assured that it cannot be transferred. And if it is transferred, it is definitely not my fault. But imagine the power they have through all that. See? So as I said, it depends on whether you trust your government or not. If you trust them, fine. If you don't, fine. If you don't, you have a problem. Like even with the ChatGPT, I do not think, they're doing it from the goodness of their heart to make this public. If I were them, okay, this is what I would do. I open ChatGPT to the public. You sign in. I don't know if you have to sign in. You ask questions, and sooner or later, ChatGPT will be able to, because there is this word they have right now. I think they call it machine learning, and I think it is when the AI is so sophisticated that it doesn't remain static. It can learn from you. So if I were them, you sign up, and then it's going to study you until at the end it will just close to, replicate you, and it will be able to predict your movements, your political decisions, your buying habits, your spending habits. And again, if that's from a benevolent dictator, fine, everyone will be happy. But if not, we are all dead.
Okay, so the dangerous thing, the AI even knows you more than yourself. The algorithm knows you more than yourself now. They have anticipated you, everything about you from the day you were born. They know it, even if they're your medical file, they knows if they have scanned everything about you. So there's nothing private. That's why I say it's an entity. This artificial intelligence is a man-made entity. I would like to call it an artificial entity, AE. It is a spirit. It's like a demon. We have created a demon, give it all this power, all these abilities, and we are giving this control over our life, giving this thing power to know everything about us. So what we have there, according to Elon Musk, that with artificial intelligence, we are actually summoning a demon. This is true. This is very, very true. We have now created powerful deities, and more will be created, because the more access you give this thing that is learning, the more power you are giving it. Now we'll be giving it power very soon in military. We're going to be seeing drones, self-controlled artificial intelligent drones going into war. We're going to be seeing this thing giving more power, more access to control our life. This is going to be like the movie called Matrix, the part 1. If you've seen Matrix, whereby the machines created the machines to serve them. Later, the machines now got more power over humanity, and men try to destroy them. Say, okay, since this thing has become more powerful, we are going to destroy the sun. If we take out the sun, then we not have any source of energy. So they took out the sun. Then instead, the machine start creating humans, growing them in feeds, using that biological, the bionic energy in humans to charge themselves, to power themselves, and not putting them in this kind of thing is possible, is going to that level, because the more power and access we give this thing, the more greater control it has over our life, and it will not want to lose its control. because it is learning every day. It is studying us every day. It's getting smarter every day. And people that have access to money, we want to control more humans. So of course, they are going to give it greater access to every aspect of our life. So at the end of the day, we're going to be at war with this very thing that we are now, this baby we have now created. So it's a dangerous thing. And right now we are feeding all our data to the internet. And guess what? It has access. It knows human, it's studying us now. It has access to our data. So this is a very dangerous step for us. And I don't really see us going back. Do you think it's too late? We're looking at it, it's already too late because we are so in love with it now. We are so attached to it. The next step is to merge with it. The merging comes whereby this phone now is going to be reduced to a tiny chip, tiny chip, just like a seed of rice. And then we are going to insert this thing right under our flesh. We are going to be married forever to this thing. This is where we are going.
And the control is going to be complete. And you will not have a screen anymore because it's going to be implanted on your eyeball or on your retina.
Screen. There's no separation. 24 hours. This mobile phone inside our flesh goes everywhere with us now. So we are going to merge with AI. And that future, I don't know how it will look for humanity. It depends on, once again, who controls this, who have ultimate control. So we need to start thinking about this now because we're actually going there. And I don't see us going back. And with cloud, or our information that we are putting there, I don't see us getting it back. So the new cloud, I see cloud now as a form of artificial Akashic records that humans have now created. In spirituality, we have what they call Akashic record, which is a record of humanity from time immemorial. When we meditate as spiritualists, sometimes we access these Akashic records to know what has happened in the past. We have this in spiritual balance. Now we are having a new Akashic record, the kind of physical one, in the form of this cloud storage now, whereby all our data are being stored right now, and anybody can actually access it. And also to AI, of course, have all direct access to this cloud right now. So we have a new Akashic record. It's like we are creating a kind of alternate reality, digital reality by ourselves, whereby we can actually coexist with this AI that if we are not creating, we are creating a world for it that we merge with us together. So this is something that is really, really serious. The implications for future generations are enormous. Okay, but it will be a topic for another day. But we need to know that this is where we are going with this, and I don't see us going back. The way the world is set right now, everybody's anxious, everybody's nervous, everybody's excited. Nobody is stopping it. We are just moving there. It's like something it's our destiny to go there. I don't see anybody stopping this from happening. I don't see anybody stopping. Or do you see any way it's going to stop? It's our future, our destiny.
No.
It will happen. Whether we like it or not, it will happen.
It's going to happen. Actually, the way I figure out the future is I always tell, of course, there are evil people in the world, so I always tell myself, if I were evil, what would I do? And it's bad. It's really bad, no? If I were evil, I'd control everyone through the AI from the goodness of my heart, and I will convince myself that I'm doing it from the goodness of my heart. If you think your parents were controlling, that is nothing compared to what you are about to see. Yeah, okay. It's like if you have controlling parents, they're gonna get their ultimate karma by seeing what the government is going to do to them. Okay, it's like if a person who is nice can convince himself that I want this girl or this boy to fall in love with me, so and then he talks to he prays. You can imagine all of the rulers of the world, and they all say, I want to be able to control the world, and it's because I love them. It's the same thing. It's like I want my child to have a job as an engineer or a doctor. I don't care if he wants to be an artist because I feel it's good for him. That's exactly what the guys upstairs are doing. And that's even assuming that they mean well for us. And I don't think a lot of them mean well for us. if they don't mean well for us, you can imagine what they're going to do. The middle class will be destroyed. The only thing which will be left is the top 1%, and all of the rest of us are going to be slaves.
Exactly. This is the middle class is already going.
It's
Many of
going
these
to be gone.
now falling back. They are falling back down to the poverty level. I have seen this in many countries. Middle classes are disappearing right now. It's either you are rich or you are poor.
Yeah,
Just have
and when I say rich, it's not only, you know, $1 million. You have to have $100 million, because even at $1 million, you're going to be considered a slave after a while because you don't have control of the AI. So it's only the top 1% who's going to be there, and they're going to treat all of us like they are our children. And we love them, but we're not going to give them much. They're not going to own anything, and all that crap. Okay, as I said, if we have a benevolent dictator, it's fine. Okay, but what if we don't? Okay, do you trust your politicians, whatever country you are in? Do you trust your politicians, or do you think they're just all a bunch of people who are going to put one thing over you? Okay.
The good the world is designed, especially with this capitalist system, it's very difficult for good people to access places of power. They don't even allow it. For people that there's like the whole world is following a kind of system whereby we have this government. So I would say they're like puppet, Western puppet that is trying to control everybody. Only people that will subscribe to their wish and desires, their policy. So those kind of people they are allowed to clinch power. I've seen this a lot, but I believe there's a change is coming, especially in the world right now with what is happening now. A kind of change is coming, but it will take time. The old guard is going to do everything in place to make sure that things stay the same. People have kind of seen this coming. They don't want it to happen. So right now there's a serious issue in the world, commotion of sorts. People are trying to break from a kind of multipolar world system. It's trying to be informed. People are tired of being controlled. But I think AI is refilling that gap. So there's a great change that is coming to the world now. But I just want us to still focus on this topic of the rise of artificial intelligence. I want us to talk about blockchain. What do you think about blockchain, and what are the benefits and the disadvantages of blockchain technology?
Okay. I have not traded in any of those cryptocurrencies. I'm kind of familiar with it. Now, the problem with blockchain is that, well, the nice thing with blockchain is it's not controlled by the government. But the not so nice thing with blockchain is that I don't think cryptocurrency is backed by anything. Okay. Now, right now, the dollar is also not backed by gold, and BRICS is trying to replace it with a currency which is backed by gold. So, so for me, I would prefer a currency that is backed by commodities, by gold, by oil, or whatever. But blockchain is there as an alternative if you don't want to be under the government's control. Although, of course, it can be highly volatile. Okay, now what's going to happen with it later, I really don't know, no? And the nice thing with blockchain, I heard, is that it is such that it places its records in several locations so that you cannot lie, okay? It's like here in the government, there are several governments that you just cannot audit their central bank. You would be surprised that there are actually some governments that you cannot audit their central banks. Actually, a lot of governments, I heard, have this thing like they have a certain account which is supposed to be classified that you cannot audit. Okay, the others you can audit, but some you cannot audit, especially when it comes to security of the state. Now, when it comes through central banks, I heard that some countries also you cannot audit it, and you know, I cannot understand why you cannot audit something as important as that. No, so there, at least with, you know, with blockchain. But other than that, there I don't know that much.
The great thing about the blockchain, as you said, is this we call it authenticity. It's created in a way that is powerfully encrypted and
Mm,
impossible to hack. And these keys of the Bitcoin or the cryptocurrency, they have been created in a way that you can hash them. And once they are there for the record for everybody to see. So it's something that it is you can streamline it. It's as authentic as a fingerprint. No two hash keys are as exactly the same and can ever be the same. So it is something that I see that the spirituality of this is that has a lot of value because it is the uniqueness. It's what gives it its value. The uniqueness that it cannot be duplicated, it cannot be cracked, it cannot be copied. It's what has given it its value. That is why it's so valuable, and that is what gives it the power to be used as a digital currency. This uniqueness that it has, that it cannot be duplicated, gives it this value that people can trust it, that we can use this as a currency. Now it's something that now kind of reshaping the world in terms of the financial capacity of transactions that have been taking place. It is something that cannot be controlled by any one government, although it can solve for a certain why, but it cannot really be controlled. So it has kind of given financial power to people that before now don't have that kind of power. Before the emergence of cryptocurrency, if you want to transfer money from one country to another, you must visit a bank. If you don't visit a bank, you must go to Western Union, MoneyGram. Those are the only two transfer companies that we have in the world. Or you go to bank, or you hack somebody that, okay, I know somebody living in another country, which is very rare. I can give you money here, you give me money there, which is a very old school, just like trade like barter. So many people have been conditioned by this being unable to control their own wealth by themselves. So blockchain technology have given us freedom to do so many things. That's giving us freedom and power to be able to break away from this old guard. And it's giving us flexibility too to manage our money by saving it, converting it to digital currency. We don't need to carry physical cash. We don't need to even worry about physical cash right now. You can go to any country, just sell your you exchange your crypto for physical cash, and you can live a high quality of life with the power of blockchain technology. You can have billions of dollars, you save it in a USB drive. Nobody will know you have that kind of money. So this power that they're giving people, I think is a very good thing, especially in this time whereby some people are trying to control the money of everybody, as you rightly said, MasterCard and Visa. This not only in this country, in my country is the same thing. Every bank, you must have MasterCard and Visa. And if the government don't like you, the first thing they do is just to press a button attached to your name, and your bank account is frozen, and you are dead. But they can't do that with blockchain.
Yeah,
They can't do that because they can't do that with it. That is why they hate it so much. That is why they keep saying every day. We never say anything good about blockchain, about Bitcoin. It's only used by criminals. It's unregulated. It's this, it's that, because they have no power over it. So I think in that regard, it's a very good thing. That is, and it has a lot of future because in the digital space, of course, we don't need physical cash. So we can actually do transactions which are very fast and authentic with blockchain, and everything will go smoothly. And you have this power. You don't need to go through any middleman, but you need to know how to do it because once again, there's a lot of bad people there. There's a lot of scam there. So if you don't know how to use cryptocurrency, you can lose everything at the same time. And the bad thing with it is that when you have this cryptocurrency in your wallet, they don't have a next of kin, or like bank accounts where you have next of kin. In case somebody died, your money will be given to whoever name is on the account, will be transferred to your next of kin. In cryptocurrency, there's not yet any next of kin. So if you die and you have billions of dollars in a crypto wallet, it dies with you. Nobody can access it. This is a major disadvantage, except somebody have your password, or maybe they will have to invoke your spirits and ask your spirit for the password to your crypto wallet. That's the only way they can access your fund. So this is a major disadvantage I have seen with the use of cryptocurrency, the emergence. There's no next of kin. If you die with your password, nobody can get it except somebody have power to summon your spirits to get access to that password. So this is one major disadvantage. If they can work on that, I don't know how they will be able to solve that problem. Then the good thing about it, I think blockchain technology is something that we can actually deploy in the area of election. People have not really talked about this. When we have elections for democratic elections and in many parts of the world, there's a lot of rigging. Even in America, this happens. You will see people being denied their ability to vote because they will say you have been to prison before, you cannot vote in many states. They are trying to retake people out from the population of eligible voters so that their own people can win. And this is very discriminatory, especially in the area of race relations in America. A lot of Black people are disenfranchised from voting in America. If many of states they have like just 1 or 2 misdemeanor, they can't vote for the rest of their life. That right have been taken. And you know, Black people, Hispanic people are unjustly arrested in America than white people. So many of them have no right to vote. So we have this situation whereby blockchain can be able to be used to hash keys of people that maybe if your data is already on the system, you are above 18 years, your voter's card will be linked to blockchain technology, whereby you will be the only one that have access to this your ID. So instead of going out to say you want to queue in a line to vote, people of a citizen of the country can vote from any part of the world, and it will be 100% authentic. It cannot be hacked. It cannot be breached. Same way you do your Bitcoin transactions, where you send Bitcoin from one point to another. It's seen in the dashboard by everybody. We can deploy this technology to voting. The election can never be rigged if everybody's ID is attached to the node in a blockchain and it's on public registry that is properly encrypted. People don't need to come out to stand in a queue that they want to vote for a certain candidate. Any citizen of any country can vote for whoever they want to vote for from any part of the world by just logging into the database of that blockchain and keying their ID. Once the ID is authenticated, that this is the person that have this ID is of eligible voting age, it's just like making a Bitcoin transaction. Then you click and you vote for whoever you want to vote for. It's going to be authentic. The whole world will see it, and the election cannot be rigged. Just cannot be rigged. So I see the possibility of blockchain being used to get real for authentic practice of democracy. In this case, nobody can say they want to lobby anybody. If you just lobbying people that time, you're just wasting money. You can vote from any part of the world for any candidate of your conscience without worrying about nobody will come and breathe on your neck to know who you vote for. So everybody's ID will be linked to the hash key. And same way we do Bitcoin transactions, we can use this technology for this kind of elections, and we can know the actual real results. You know, the way when somebody automatically gets to 18 years, they are just ready, automatically are inside that system for voting. So I see this that is going to solve a lot of problems, especially in Africa, when we have problem of vote rigging that happens a lot. Blockchain technology might as well be the only solution for authentic democratic practice in this world. So what do you think about it?
Yeah, I didn't know that it could be used for voting, but I know that the encryption is very strong. So yeah, it's okay. At least it's another option.
So that is nice. So this is one thing I have come to see. So in whole, digital technologies, information technologies, is not part of us as humanity now. We cannot separate ourselves from it. And I will call it another aspect of digital spirituality, the cyberspace. It's not something you can see or touch, but you can feel it. It's not physical per se, but it's a spiritual place because it is not tangible. Not something you can hold the way I hold this pen, but it actually affects our life. Right now, we are using the cyberspace to communicate to you in another location. I am here. We are doing this, and millions of people will see this. all over the world, and it's going to be in the cyberspace forever. So it's something that it's not tangible at the same time. It's very very real, and it's very very powerful. Just like spiritual precepts of love, uh, emotions, anger, beauty, things that you cannot touch physically, but you can see them. When you see them, you can acknowledge them, and they have a very powerful impact upon our life. That is why people say the spiritual always controls the physical. So I see cyberspace as a spiritual thing, and we see the effects that it has on our physical life today, and it now is kind of controlling us now. So what we need to do as spiritual people, you have any advice for how people can deal with this trend that we have noticed in? How can we be able to cope with it to have a balance in our real life and also our cyber world? How do we achieve a balance in this?
Well, sometimes,
Your perspective, how do you cope with it?
yeah. Well, sometimes what I do is at night before I sleep, I meditate. So I get rid of all my gadgets. I focus out of the material plane. I go inside and I just wonder. Okay, so that's a way. It's just changing your attention from placing your attention outside, no, outside in cyber world. You just make it outside to, let's say, your bedroom, and then later you put your attention inside. At the beginning, it's boring, and sometimes at the beginning it's even confusing because you don't wanna see the subconscious in you, which is angry, it's sad, it's pissed, you think you're a loser and all that. But after a while, and you get to know yourself, you will be able to experience emotions and things which you normally wouldn't, and you may be able to find true happiness without all of these material attachments outside. So there.
Right. I have come to also discover that going out in nature from time to time. There are times whereby I got tired of this digital world. I just want to go out of my house and walk on my bare feet. Sometimes my friend will ask me, why are you sitting out with just wearing any slippers? I say, I just want to feel the earth. I just want to kind of connect myself to the ground, to feel the realness, to feel that I am actually standing on the real earth because of the kind of I spend most of my time on the digital world, actually about 4 hours a day due to the fact that I'm a content creator. And I do most of my digital research and business or transactions online. So when you spend too much time on the internet, you start feeling a certain type of way that you are not part of the human world. I don't know if you experience this kind of thing. So the way I do is as I go out, sit in the wind, try to relax in nature. Then I also like to go for swimming as well, try to swim, try to submerge myself in a large body of water, sit inside for as long as possible, trying to sit near a tree or the grasses and just try to focus. You can call it another form of meditation. So this is the way I get away from all these things and try to claim my sanity, so not to let it overwhelm me. So I think this is a good approach, but we need to find a way to find balance with this because we are going to lose ourselves. And I see the younger generations are coming under a lot of pressure. I am from the generation, we are from that generation whereby we saw all this happening right in front of our eyes, the 80s generation, 80s, 70s. So we transited from that world of before the internet. Now inside the internet world now. So we have two kind of experience, but children born from 90s upward, most of them are find themselves born into the internet age. Okay, so the way these children are coping, of course, many of them are faster in understanding this thing, but I don't think many of them have actually seen the implications of this. For them, this is the only life they have ever known. They were born into it. They don't know any other life apart from this. So I don't know if they are ready for what is going to happen, but it will be interesting to see how they are going to respond to it and how it's going to interfere or affect their life. So for me, once again, life is a place of experience and finding yourself, discovering yourself in all these distractions. So this is why I see it. So I'm very happy that you have been able to share your thoughts on this topic with me. I'm very, very delighted. Okay, so it's very wonderful to have you here, and I want to know more about. Can you tell the audience about you and your IT explorations, your philosophy of life, and do you have any advice to say people concerning spirituality and information technology?
Wow, that's a mouthful. That's a lot, no? But well, basically, my version of spirituality, you're asking?
Yes, yes.
Well, my version of spirituality is like if the Jedi in Star Wars had a religion, mine would be very similar to it. Okay. In fact, some people actually call it Jediism. They have made it into a religion. So it's like you have the source, it's upstairs. It's in a transcendent reality. It's outside the physical realm. What happened later is that it fragmented, and when it fragmented, a lot of creations came out. And when the creations came out, some got confused because they weren't able to connect to the source anymore. So we are here getting lost until we're able to go back. Okay. So now through meditation, I reconnect, and then I do not think, but I remember where I came from so that I will get my meaning in life and all that. Now, the difference between mine and the others is that I do not worship any God. The source is not exactly an entity, and if it is an entity, it does not require me to worship him. It doesn't even require me to acknowledge him. It has no ego problem. Okay, it is just energy there which I can get energy from. My ethics and morality come from the idea of this karma, which is actually just cause and effect. So it's like the idea that we are one, the idea that we are free to have our own individuality. And the moment we go against the idea that we are one, what happens is that the whole structure from the source to us gets so twisted that we cannot get energy from it and we cannot be happy anymore. So if we do not become happy and all the bad things happen to us, it is not a punishment which we should learn from, but it is just the idea of cause and effect. Okay? So the person who goes back to the source did not go back just because he is a loving person, but because he is not an ignorant person. Because any person who knows the law will automatically be loving, and he will not be selfish, and he will want to share all his knowledge. Okay, so it is more the idea of not being ignorant. Okay, now the other thing is that our reality here, which is the material reality, is just one reality. We are living in a multiverse where you have several universes, and each universe may have different, not only scientific constants, but they may have different ways. It's like here you have 3 dimensions, X, Y, and Z, plus 1, which means time is going forward. In other places, you may have more dimensions, and time may not only go forward, but you may experience going forward and backward in time. So what happens is all these different parts of you, the astral body, the Buddhic body, and all that, I believe that they are all parts of you which exist in other multiverses. And the highest multiverse which everyone came from is actually so powerful that time does not exist. You can go forward and backwards. Okay, so that when you meditate, as you said earlier, I don't know if it's in Africa, you know, they venerate the sun. Well, with me, when I meditate, I also imagine that it is either a big white cloud or the sun, because it is the thing which is easily understandable, and it is the source of life. However, if you want to be more powerful and connect, you have to meditate on something which does not exist in the physical world and where time does not exist. And one time, when I was teaching an atheist on how to meditate, I told her, you meditate on the area beyond the black hole, beyond the Big Bang, where X, Y, and Z is confused, is very confusing, and where time does not exist. And when she was able to do that, she was able to forget her traumatic experience with her ex. And within a few years, she was able to find a boyfriend. It was so bad that within 1 week, she was able to go back to her condo unit, which she shared with her ex, and got back her things. And she did not feel uncomfortable at all. That's how she was able to erase her trauma. So it depends. There are several ways of connecting to the source. So you just have to figure out which is the best representation you can think of. But, you know, as a starter, the sun or a white cloud is okay. So Rafi, that's my idea, okay? You don't have to worship anything. There is no such thing as sin. Sin, the reason why we are suffering is not because we are bad. It is because we are ignorant. And if we are not ignorant, we are not going to be bad. Okay, so this idea of love, okay, in a way it's right in the sense that if you are loving, you go to heaven, but in a way it's incomplete because you can always convince yourself that you are loving when you are not. For example, a parent says, I am loving, therefore I want my child to be a doctor when he wants to be an artist. You know, things like that, no? That's actually an infringement of will. That's not supposed to be done, okay? So there are cases where you are loving, but you don't exactly, it's not exactly morally right for me, you know. But if you are wise and you take off your ignorance, you are going to get there. Like, for example, stress in some religions is not a sin. But in Buddhism, I can imagine that if you are stressed and you have a monkey mind, which is your mind jumps from place to place, you are not going to get there, and you have to discipline your mind in order to get to nirvana. So there. So I think at the end, it is all on knowing the rules of life, the rules of all these other multiverses. Get rid of your ignorance, and you are going to go back to where you came from. Okay. So basically, that's it. That's my philosophy.
Very well done. That is a very fine analysis. I personally too don't believe that God that created us actually require us to worship Him. This thing of worship, this phenomenon, for me, is highly overrated. We are all asked divinity, and if we are truly created in this image of this divinity, then why do we need to worship it? We just need to start to continue from where we stop. Just imagine a parent. Say you are a parent now. You have children. You have been able to born to three. You have your children have to be worshiping you.
No.
The only thing they can do is acknowledge you, to give you that respect and live their life. And you give them the guidance you can be able to give them until they are matured enough to live by themselves and do things by themselves. Is it not what we do as parents to our children? Then this philosophy of some people saying that God created, so therefore we must worship Him till we die. We must go to this house every day, every Sunday, every Friday. For me, this is it does not really make sense. We are wasting too much time doing that when we're supposed to be creating and adding to life, adding value to life, building things, and actually enjoying ourselves in the way we're supposed to, as spirits in physical form, to experience life, to enjoy life, enjoy nature. We are wasting time in one place, saying we are praying. For me, that philosophy does not really make so much sense. My spirit, body, and soul does not agree with it. So I agree with your philosophy of actually doing things, meditating, and just living your life, being at peace with your fellow men. This is what speaks directly to me. It's more genuine to me than the other aspects. So I want you to talk about, you have written 2 books, right? Can you tell us about your books and the idea behind your books that you have written on spirituality?
The books. Okay. 1999 or 1998, I wrote a book. you can actually Google it. The title is The Force Dash Rediscovering the Obvious. Okay. Right now, it is in smashwords.com. You can download it for free. It's around 40,000 words. And that time, I I was kind of conducting seminars and telling my friends my view. And you cannot really patent what they call mental machinations. So, and the thing which I was worried about was, you know, I'm not into money. I'm not an ambitious person, but it would be very heartbreaking if someone claims that my ideas are his. So in order to, you know, state that it is mine, what I simply did was I copyrighted it, okay? I didn't think of the marketing aspect anymore. I didn't think of whether it's gonna click. I just wanted the idea out. That's why my editor actually said, Ricky, this looks like a textbook. I said, I don't care. I just don't like anybody to say it's his, make money out of it while I'm here poor. Okay, I haven't really made money out of that, not that much, and it's there for free. It's an ebook, right? So it is basically my idea of spirituality, but I took off some of the words. I told the editor, I don't want it to look religious. I don't even want it to look spiritual. I want it to look plain. I don't like the target market to be the people who are after power, because that's the problem. A lot of people get into this spirituality because they feel lost and they want to control. That's why they're actually psychics for hire too, that you fall in love with them and all that. I don't like. So, you know, the book was really for a searcher, and it gives to you the ideas as boring as possible in order you do not, so that you do not misuse it. Okay, maybe now I'm going to change the angle, but during that time, that's the way it was. No, so there, you can download it. It's my philosophy of life.
Like put it under the video. I think your view of spirituality is very, very interesting, and it's very clean and down to earth. The authenticity. You have been able to weed out a lot of things that is unnecessary, and you kind of went straight to the meat of the matter. And I think that is what is essential. We don't need to waste too much time going into details that are not necessary for us. You see a lot of spiritual practice, then we want to waste your time. It's like you're draining your energy, telling you that they have the key to the knowledge, the key to ascension, the key to this. You will see a very big book. Then they want to waste your time. If you cannot have time, there's somebody will claim to be a spiritual master. The group, for me, this is another part of scam. Anything that is not easy to understand, that you cannot be able to explain to an 8-year-old in clear terms, there's an issue with it. Even me, I wrote a book in my book, Quantum Physics and African Spirituality. I make sure it's compacted. It's not more than 150 pages, because there's no need to waste people's time. Just go straight to the meat of the matter, so that once they read, they understand, they can have time to do other things with their life. So there's the time now, the way the world is now, we need to be precise with what. There's no need writing big books that are a waste of page, waste of time, just to prove that you're an expert. Just go straight to the point, add your value to humanity, and you move on. This is so I think your writing is very, very good, and at this time it's also yes. Well, so I'll put the link under this video so people can also access it to know. So I'm very happy about your philosophy of life, and I think it's very much like mine, but only that mine I approach it from the Afrocentric perspective. I talk about African spirituality, because African spirituality is a subject that have been kind of ignored, or it is it's like a subject under attack. It has always been under attack by Western or supremacists due to colonization. So a lot of it has been hidden. If you go to your mainstream educational public system in any part of the world and they teach you this Western educational curriculum, you will think that African people have added nothing to the world, that we were primitive people living in caves. We have nothing until white people came to Africa to civilize us. This is what they teach people. But the reverse is the case. So I start teaching African spirituality and history, because I discovered that they don't even teach it in Africa. So many African people don't know their history. So many people don't even know that the ancient Egyptians are black people, that they are from Kush, from modern day Sudan, that the Egyptian civilization is a pure African black civilization. They don't teach it like this. They try to teach it like Egypt is out of Africa. Even Israel is part of an African land. They call it Middle East. So many things have been distorted about African people. So I try to teach authentic African history and spirituality dating back 400,000 BCE. We have those humanities. So that is why I opened my channel. So when I talk about spirituality, I relate it, I try to trace the origin of concept back to Africa with a lot of physical evidence. And I try to do this in a scientific and academic way so people can see the truth of what I'm saying. So it will not be like I'm saying stories or fiction about Africa or I'm coming to the YouTube to live. So this is why I focus more on African spirituality, to teach this to educate our people and to bring out the truth so that people can know us and appreciate us. And also for my brothers and sisters that are neck deep in religion, they can be able to know more about who they are and that's focusing on the right spiritual practice that will uplift them, empower them, enlighten them, at the same time educate them. So this is the sole essence and philosophy of my channel. And recently now, of course, we are living in a digital age. I need to adapt everything. I need to bring forward African spirituality and adapt it to this modern day 21st century by the use of digital technologies and also by explaining and bringing scientific evidence of the spirituality. So this is a kind of a Afro-scientific channel. That is why the name Afro-scientific spirituality. And right now we are talking about IT. How can we integrate African spirituality into information technology, into this so-called artificial intelligence? I believe the AI is also studying African spirituality as well. I'll be excited to see what this so-called AI thinks about African spirituality, because now we're feeding it this data every day as well. I believe that it's learning. One day, modern day people that will come out in the future, modern day Africans, modern day humans, they are going to be learning a lot of things about African spirituality that they don't know. So for many people, when they come across African spirituality and history, they are shocked because there are so many things they have not been told or they have not learned about yet. So I'm trying to adapt everything to modern day technology as well. So we are growing, we are learning, we are evolving in line with the present day. So I'm very grateful to have you here. It's a pleasure to have you. I'm very delighted. Your name, Ricky Maramba. Your name, Maramba, is an African name. Can you tell me about your name?
Actually, you know, I think there's an area in Africa which is named Maramba, because I tried Googling it, and there are people called Maramba in Indonesia. No, but we do not know any relatives in Indonesia or Africa. But yeah, I heard there is a place there.
But we have in Southern Africa, that name is pure Southern African name. I won't be surprised. There's some school of thought that say the time pass of African people sailed to Asia, some sailed to India, sailed to Philippines, to Thailand, to Indonesia, to even Papua New Guinea, even Australia. So maybe they came with that name. I've also seen that there's also some African black people living in some part of Philippines. So maybe the name comes from there, who knows? But I think it's a good name. It's a name of power, a name of I like the name, it's nice. So I'm happy very much today to have you here. And I think we'll end the live chat today. We have really talked a lot about this topic of IT and related to spirituality. So it's a pleasure having you. And I'm very, very grateful for the viewers. I thank you once again. And my name still remains Ife West. I would like to know your thoughts about the interrelationship between information technology and spirituality, especially with respect to AI, adaptive technology, blockchain, and cloud computing. I would like to know your opinion. So questions and comments are welcome. You can like and share this video. Then Ricky Maramba also have his YouTube channel. Your YouTube channel, what is the name of your channel? And
yeah, it's also my name, Ricky Maramba. As of now, there are just, I think, 11 videos. It's just starting, no? And there, I'm also asking permission that I place this video in my channel.
Oh, why
Okay.
not? Why not? You should put it on your website and put
Yeah.
it also on your YouTube channel. Of course, you
Yes.
must put it. It belongs to me and you.
Yeah,
So
yeah. No problem. Thanks. Thanks so much.
very happy. I'm very proud to know you, and it's a pleasure to have this conversation with you. And I hope in the future we can talk more about information technology and spirituality as it develops and affects us and the whole of humanity as a whole. I'm very grateful for today. So I thank you very much, and I wish you a wonderful day. And I'll be seeing you soon. And the viewers, I'll be seeing you in the next video. Okay. So take care and bye. Peace.
Okay. Nice.